This is a Harper Guys production.
The Harper contains foul language and adult material. If you are easily offended and thin-skinned, you should hit the stop button now. And if you are not a complete idiot, let's get this party started.
Let's get down to brass tacks, gentlemen. If I was informed correctly, the clock is ticking. Is that right, Jimmy?
You know, but good luck arguing that in court. Let me get down to brass tacks.
Listen, let's get down to brass tacks here. How much for the 8?
Jack, let's just cut the crap and get down to brass tacks here.
Are you hating on Neil Diamond?
Holy fuck Neil Diamond.
Our dream of deathmatch is going to come to fruition, and my golden ticket is going to pay off. Hoo-ah. Don't you fucking hoo-ah me, motherfucker.
I want the ability to time travel.
Dumb. This is stupid. Welcome to the Hopper, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jake. With me, as always, my sidekick, Adam.
Oh, so worn out. I almost forgot to point.
You almost forgot the bring-in right there. I don't know why I had a weird moment there in my brain. I just envisioned Ethan doing that song on like some kind of an electric ukulele that was like this small. Can you imagine him trying to play that? That's what was going through my brain. I don't know why.
I don't know.
All right, let's get started with tonight's PSA.
Let's do this, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, by the way. For those that you don't know, before we get into this complete PSA, we've got a bonus episode out there on the Patreon.
That's right.
So we kind of went away for a minute. Got a little bit of silence. We got our Patreon members enjoying that.
That's right.
And now we're back.
If you missed us last week, you can hop on in, catch back up.
Yeah, I mean, bonus material, folks. I mean, who doesn't love bonus material?
Bam.
Get out there and get it. I'll give you the information here. Un momento. Episode 75. That's my number. That's when I was born. 75.
Here we go.
This is my golden show. I'm going to be the best I ever was. Or something like that. So visit us at theharperguys.com. There you can follow and share. Also visit us at iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, Radio Public, TuneIn, and iHeartRadio. If you're watching on YouTube right now, click the subscribe button and, throw a comment down. And Jake knows, if you comment, you'll become part of the
show.
Ooh.
Yes.
I'm laughing. And if you don't know why I'm laughing, go listen to some earlier episodes.
That's right.
And don't forget the 50th subscriber to our YouTube channel will get a free, to their size liking, Brass Tacks red t-shirt.
Boom.
It's got Brass Tacks on the front, and it's got theharperguys.com on the back.
We didn't plan this very well. We should probably have that out for the next show. That way they can see the merch.
Well,
see what they're going after.
Okay, we can have a shirt out,
well,
but it may not be the one they're going to get.
Well, depending on their size.
He or she may be quite petite or quite large, whatever. Or right in the middle somewhere.
Yeah.
So much to talk about. Thank you to Ethan Maxwell for throwing out the demilitarized zone in its entirety, front to back, to open the show and to end the show.
It's the bookends, baby.
Bookend it. He's bookending it. We want to throw out a big thank you to Jim Randolph, another Patreon.
VIP, right? He's the new VIP.
Yes. He's got it all. So for those that want to join Jim and Aaron and the few others that we're going to throw out here some names throughout the next few weeks, go to patreon.com. That's patreon.com /Harper Guys Production. No the in there. It's
That's
just
right.
Harper Guys Production. There you will have a prorated set of gifts that you will receive for just being a member.
Right.
Just being a member.
That's right.
Every few months you're going to get something free.
Yeah.
What the fuck? I mean, you're going to pay us a little bit of money for joining the Patreon and getting this bonus content, but you're also going to be getting stuff right back in your, in your collection.
That's right.
So let's do that.
Okay. We good there?
Um,
Anything else? PSA? Did you go through our platforms? I think everybody knows platforms by now.
yeah, I
run
went.
through 'em?
I went through the platforms,
All
but
right.
the one thing I want to talk about, last week's episode, 74, for the Patreon from the Harper. I thought it was one of our. I mean, we've had a lot of good shows.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of good content to come through here.
Yeah.
But personally, I think that was one of our best recordings.
It was on point.
Yes. Also, for the Gallows, episode 25, that one as well. We were on fire that night. We recorded 2 shows, one Gallows, one Harper, and they were really good.
They were on point.
Not just saying that.
That's
You want to get out there and get them.
Raising the bar for the crew.
Raising the bar. We're trying to do some things. Oh, and that episode of the Gallows was one of those that we're not going to do on a normal show. A little bit could get you a little squeamish. It's the murders that happen on there are, I don't know.
They're grisly. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. We're just gonna say it's bad. So, how bad is it? Go find out.
That's why we saved it for the Patreon.
That's right. So,
All right, let's
how
get
you
into
doing,
it.
man?
I'm doing. I think we got some fun stuff to talk about tonight. Some little annoyances, some little things here and there. So
No, but I want to know how you're doing.
I'm doing. I'm ready for the 4th of July weekend.
Oh yeah, happy 4th, everybody.
To the crew out there that doesn't know, I'm about to go into the knife next week, so I'm starting to get the nerves a little bit from that. But other than that, like I'm feeling good, just trying to get stuff knocked out and get ready to rock and roll. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Very happy.
Oh no,
I'm all. I mean, I shouldn't say all play because I do get into work most of the time.
Yeah.
But I like to play a lot.
well sure,
And sometimes the motivation's there, sometimes it's not.
right.
That's our first topic of the night. What oh God, I got to get in there and do it. Well, what gets you motivated the most?
It all depends on what the arena is for me when it comes to motivation. When it comes to a game of any time, whether it's a sporting contest, a video game, a board game, a leisure sport, I hate to lose. I mean, the only thing better than winning is not losing to me. Like I despise, and I know there's a lot of people that feel that way, but I'm telling you what, you talk about like a lot of times when I win, it's like, yay, high five, like that was cool. But when I lose, it's just like,
Okay, well that's leisure sports. To me, that's like I see something going on, I'm in there. I don't need motivated. I want to get in there and play.
Yeah.
I'm talking like work stuff, whether it's at the job,
Yeah.
or like fucking yard work,
Yeah.
or whatever.
so when I get, there's a couple things that I get that I work with. When I am working with a person or a group of people that has their stuff together and they're organized and they know what they want, to where, yes, let's do this together. You know, sometimes you got to work through the messy parts on different projects and that things happen. But when you're working with somebody that's really on it, I mean, you have a question, they have an answer, and it's the right answer. And that means that you can keep pushing forward with what you're doing. And it's a great collaboration. I love that about my job, because a great collaboration can turn into an amazing product that at the end of the day, you create something that neither one of you even thought was going to come out of it in the end. And it's so much better than where you started.
Right.
To where those are the ones I love.
And on the flip side, when the people aren't prepared, or the people you're working with just didn't do their work,
Right.
there's nothing worse.
Oh, it's like walking through mud, man. I mean, it's a struggle every step.
See, for me, I think I wrote some of this stuff down. Let's just so I don't forget exactly what I wrote. Actually, I didn't write that down. For me, if it's something that I don't know really what to do,
Yeah.
like I'm working IT, so there's a lot of little areas that I know everything I'm doing. I'm like, give me that. Yeah, I got it. Give me that. Yeah, I got it. And then there's like, oof. All right, well, I got 12 other things. I'm going to go over here first. It's where I just can't, even though I know in my mind, if I go do a little 20, 30, 40 minutes of research and figure it out and go down some avenues, I'll be fine.
Right.
But it's just that, like, God damn it.
Let me ask you from a little bit of a scientific point of view. Would you say that you are somebody that is intrinsically motivated or extrinsically motivated? And the difference being this.
I don't know what those words mean.
It's the carrot and the stick. It's really what it comes down to. Intrinsic is that something that comes from inside you, the desire to be productive and get things done and accomplish things. And a lot of that comes from like the leadership that you work with, you know, to where if you have leadership that inspires you to be better and to do a better job, like that is an intrinsic motivator. Extrinsic is, hey, if you don't get it done, itch your ass.
Right.
Right? To where like it's that fear of failure because you're going to get in trouble because you get in trouble.
I have that wrote down. This is what I wrote to this to what motivates you the most? Is it just plain ambition?
Yeah.
Is it money? Is it fear? For me on a grand scale, like outside of work.
Yeah.
Like when I'm at home and I got whether it's a hobby or something I want to get done, if it's something that I like want to do, I'm like really into, oh my god.
Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah, blinders on, you're
Yeah,
forward.
I mean, like the podcast, for instance. Like when we were starting this up, I was like just so jazzed about learning things and trying different things and doing it. It was like,
Yeah.
But then of course you hit a couple of speed bumps. You're like,
Sure.
it's the worst thing ever.
Yeah. Are you motivated at all by learning? Because one of the things that I get a lot of joy out of is if I'm working on a project and I learn something along the way, and then I'm working on another project later and I get to use what I had learned. I love that because that makes me feel like I've progressed,
Right.
If you're staying the same, you're moving backwards, right? Because everybody else is passing it, to where I really enjoy that part of it.
So to answer your question, which I really didn't.
Yeah.
Taking a hard look at myself.
Uh-huh.
We're so busy at work and doing different things, but I work really, really good under pressure. Like, I'm not when it comes to work, I don't procrastinate. But when there's so many things to do, and then you're like, maybe this thing fell through the cracks.
Yeah.
And then somebody's like, dude, where is this? And I'm like, holy fuck, I totally, I got to get down there. I'll fucking, complete focus.
Yeah.
For the next 2 hours, knock it out, get it done.
Yeah.
Hand it over on a silver platter, and there you go.
Yeah.
So I don't like to work that way, but I think maybe there's something in there that's like, it's hidden this, like, I don't know.
Do you get any when it comes to motivation? I mean, I know we're talking a lot about work, but when it comes to motivation to do anything, is there part of you that's driven by helping people?
Sure.
I mean, that's something that gives me a really good feeling is when somebody calls me, especially during my work day, and they're like, hey, man, I need you. Like, XYZ is going wrong. Like, what can we do? When I can provide an answer, a pathway of exactly what we need to do to get this done and help them get through that process. And at the end, they're like, hey, man, seriously, thank you. I wouldn't be able to get through that without you. Like, that means a lot to me.
But I'll throw this out there, and I'm sure you'll agree. That's a 50-50 proposition. Because if this person is somebody that's, has their shit together usually, and works with you well, usually, then absolutely. It's like, sure, dude, bring that in. I got it. But if it's the opposite, this person that's never got their shit together, and they're like, oh my God, dude, you really got to get this in. You're like, whoa.
Whoa, don't hand me your fire, bro.
It's what'll come out of your mouth, or at least what'll come out of your mouth after you hang up. So your failure to, or what is it? Poor management on your part doesn't create an emergency on mine.
That's right. I agree. But sometimes emergencies happen, and it's not anybody else's fault. So, but yeah, I think motivation comes from a lot of different places. So, I think it's important to stay motivated, to find what motivates you, and kind of make sure that you build that in.
Like if we're talking about my workbench in the basement, that can get bad.
Yeah.
I'm like one of these guys. This is what I do. I got a lot of tools, and I can handle most situations. I got enough the tools to handle most situations at home.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll grab them. I'll make a pile, and I'll go do whatever I got to do. And then when I come back, instead of taking that 5 or 10 minutes to put them back, I just, boom, I'm going to go have a beer.
Yeah, I get it, but you can finish it later.
No, I can always come back and do it. But then if that happens 2 or 3 times, then it looks like a fucking shit show.
Right.
So motivation on that, I have to wait till I walk by that room a few times. I'm like, whew, I better go do this.
Better get that done now.
I need to take
Sure.
that. I need to take that 20 minutes.
Absolutely. I agree completely.
So in that respect, my motivation on that project is just, all right, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. It's about time. Just get her done.
Yeah.
Push yourself to the end. I agree. So,
I mean, I think also, I see with my job, I don't think I'm actually motivated by the money.
yeah.
I think getting out of bed and going into work, I'm motivated by the money. But as far as when I'm at work, I don't think about cash.
Well, part of what I do is part of what I make is based on what I do.
Right.
What I accomplish, what I see the process through.
So yours
all the way
is
to
completely
production,
different.
To where there is part of it. If I'm working on a project that is going to have a good financial payoff in the end, then yeah, I'm all for it.
So that's sales, everybody.
Yeah, it is. But it's something to where it's never the key, though. It's never the one thing that I'm driving for. You know what I mean? But it's something that's definitely in the back of my mind. Like, once I get this finished, then the financial payoff will be there. Not just the feeling that I got something accomplished.
Absolutely.
So that's what I got on motivation. Got anything else?
Well, let's go back to sports real quick. So
It's all about winning, man.
No. Absolutely. So
Number one motivator to work hard, to practice, to put the time in, to learn what I'm doing, whether I'm playing fantasy football, an actual real sport, cornhole in the backyard, whatever it is, winning. Winning is the ultimate motivator. I mean, not losing, but in situations like that, winning is what it comes down to.
and I know you're in this boat as well as me, but like the wife, always. You won again? Well, that stopped happening as soon as Jake started coming over to the poker league. But it used to be.
You still won your fair share, buddy.
She would say, "You won again? You're not going to have any friends." I'm like, "Listen, I'm going to keep doing me. If they can't catch up."
Hey, the greatest honor that you can ever have as somebody that plays poker, even on a part-time fun basis, is when you stop being invited because you keep winning.
Yeah.
It's like, all right,
I thought about it.
I just took your poker soul.
I thought about
I'll
it.
put that in my back pocket and
But
go
how
home.
can I restart this league without Jake knowing?
I wouldn't be offended at this point. I mean, I think that we've got some players, though, now. I mean,
We ain't got shit.
the other Jake
Oh,
played,
no.
played me tough.
No, Smith. Yeah, he's a player.
Because he's a wild card. You don't care.
No.
That dude's ex-military. Like, he's seen some things that you and I haven't really seen, to where losing $4 on a hand of cards is like,
I'll tell you what. There's something to be said. I mean, you can't bet big every single hand because you'll end up with no money.
yeah.
But when we first started playing that league, my cousin would come in there, and he didn't know how to play poker.
Yeah.
Actually, none of us did really.
Yeah.
And he would just like throw 50 cents out every time. Now, that's not much, right? But when you're playing $5 poker, that's a lot. What is that, Jake?
10% of your stack,
10%
bro.
of your stack right off the bat. And it was like, he would do this for like, he quit doing it and he started losing. But he would, and everybody's like, God damn, you just can't risk it.
Right. Unbridled aggression can be a beautiful thing.
And he, for like 2 months, he just would wash the boards with us. And then he quit doing that because he started to learn poker and realized maybe I shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
And then it kind of backfired, but
Right. Well,
it's kind of Forrest Gump playing.
there's times that you got to be able to change gears and throw caution to the wind, and
Oh, yeah.
you start trying to read
But
other people and
not
figure it out, and-
not just poker though. So like you said, cornhole, all that. Obviously, the motivation is winning.
yeah.
That's easy. But just about any sport.
Yep.
Euchre, throw down, man. It's time to throw down.
Bowling, pool, it doesn't matter. It's all of it. Just want to win, baby.
Just don't grab the lawn dart and wing it at your buddy because he's kicking your ass and he's impaled.
That'd be a lot.
Yeah, that'd be a bunch.
Don't do that.
Well, I don't think they even have lawn darts anymore.
You can find them. If you look, they're not allowed to sell them commercially anymore, but you can find them.
I'm sure they're like blunt end now where they don't even stick.
Oh no, we've got a set that the family has that we play every couple years, and you're on your toes, man. Like, because we play like the long distance yard darts, to where like you got to be paying attention, especially if it's a sunny day, bro.
That's no good unless you're walking back and forth.
No. It's 2 to an end.
Oh, that's bad news because usually with the leisure sports, you might be tipping a couple back.
Well, on those days we're not. For that particular
Those
game,
days.
it's like
Everybody,
it's like shooting guns, man.
no drink.
Guns and alcohol don't mix,
That's for sure.
right?
But what does mix is me and Miller High Life. The
Right.
show's brought to you by Miller High Life tonight
That's right.
and Diet Mountain Dew.
And Diet Mountain Dew, Copenhagen, and a little bit of bourbon. Let me run through the bourbon just real quick here.
Sure. Oh, yeah. By the way, if you haven't noticed, and I want to tell you this. On our Patreon show, we have, this could be a new theme. It might not be a new theme.
We'll see.
It probably should be because Jake is like the owner of enough liquor. He had this very unique bottle out that is on the Patreon show.
Yeah.
What was that? Bourbon?
It's Willet bourbon.
Bourbon. Okay. That's all we're going to say.
Yeah.
If you want to see, but the bottle is something you haven't seen before. Well,
You have to see it.
I've never seen it, but it was really, really large at the bottom and it came to a neck and straight up and it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But anyways, what are these guys?
So we got 2 bourbons on the table tonight. One is Buffalo Trace here, and then we have the Weller Antique. So these are 2 of the more popular bourbons that you're going to find. Price point: the Buffalo Trace, $19 to $23, depending on where you get it at. Not an easy find. They release it several times a year throughout the year, to where you might be able to find it for a couple weeks, but then it gets a little bit harder to find. It is consistently ranked as the number one bourbon on the planet.
Number one.
Number one. I mean, and at that price point, you're kind of like, really? Is that true? Well, they mass produce it so much, and they try to keep it available to the masses that everybody likes it, everybody enjoys it. And Buffalo Trace actually owns a lot of the other really, really big names in bourbon. I mean, they are the kings of all things bourbon. They are the Budweiser of bourbon.
So is Buffalo Trace like Budweiser? Is that like the name, or do they go under something else?
No, that's the name for this particular one. And I
know for this one, but I'm saying like Budweiser, and then they got the Budweiser.
Right. So but Buffalo Trace is this one. The one beside it, Weller, right? Weller is owned by Buffalo Trace Distillery.
Really?
Yeah. So it's not the same thing, but it's owned by the same company. Now, this is Weller, and this is Antique. This is the red label. Again, not the easiest find. What we're finding is that a lot of liquor stores here in Ohio, they will get this in on, say, a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night. It's typically gone that night. People that know about it will find it. They call it Poor Man's Pappy because it tastes very similar to Pappy Van Winkle. Both very, very good. Your price point on that bottle is about $40. So you're still not going to break the bank for a pretty decent bourbon. So
and this one's about 20.
Yeah, this one's 20 to 23. This one's
now. Where can we
40.
find the Buffalo Trace if you're in Ohio?
You have to go to liquor stores and look for it, and don't be afraid to ask. That's one of those things that where people walk into a liquor store, if they don't find something right away, they don't ask. Ask, because sometimes on stuff like this that sells fast, they'll keep a case of it in the back. Okay, to where by law in Ohio you can't just hold it for somebody. Okay, it doesn't work that way. But what they'll do, because they're not technically hold it for somebody, they'll keep it back behind where the actual sales are, to where if you ask about it, they're like, yeah, they have to sell you one bottle, right? So if they have it, they have to sell it to you.
So tell me about bourbon. I've had bourbon, but it's been a little while.
Bourbon is something that I've actually been getting into a little bit more because
well,
of my
I
brother.
can tell.
And
2 bottle, 3, 4 bottle I see in this room.
Yeah, conversation that me and my brother have had. It's you drink it straight. I mean, you can put a little bit of something in it to cut it. I like some ice cubes in it to let them melt down a little bit, to where it cuts it, takes the edge off of it a little bit, and you start to figure out after you've had a couple which ones are a little harsher, which ones are a little smoother. You can't chug it like you do beer or even like
so it's
like
a
a rubber
sipping
Coke.
drink.
Oh, it's definitely a sipper.
So is this more like
it's chilling time.
Okay.
You don't just you're not slamming on playing cornhole. You know what I mean? Like you're just kind of chilling, sipping. It's more of a relaxation drink.
Good buzz?
Yeah, not bad. I mean, like I said, like anything else, if you overdo it, you're going to pay for it. But yeah.
I'm talking to
it's a nice mellow thing. It's not like doing shots of Jack where you get crazy and break stuff and that kind of stuff. You're just sipping it, and
I'm sure it's still a lot of the first few times you're doing it is probably a lot of wow, this is like rubbing alcohol.
You'd be surprised if you really take your time with this.
What about flavor? Is there good flavor or not really? Just smooth and not smooth.
To me, I enjoy it. I mean, the smoother the better. I mean, some of them have a little bit of oak taste to them. There's a few Four Roses, which we'll get that on here at some point in time. They actually have a couple different ones that have a little bit of sweetness that's with them, to where it's a nice flavor. I mean, most of them are going to give you a little bit of a.
What about these two? What do we got with these two?
So neither one of these are real heavy on the oak. They're just really straight bourbon, pretty good flavor.
Smooth, not smooth?
Oh, both of these are incredibly smooth.
Really?
I mean, oh yeah.
Oh, well, this is the number one.
This is number one
in the world.
Yeah,
and so this better be fucking smooth.
Right, and this is comparable to a bottle of Pappy, which if you find a bottle of Pappy for sale, which is hard to find, that's actually like a Van Winkle 15.
You're saying the one on the right?
Yeah, a 10-year, 15-year, 23-year, all that stuff. I mean, those bottles in the aftermarket go for anywhere between $1,200 to $4,000 for a bottle. And
why?
And this because it's so hard to get.
Is it that good though?
I don't know. It's my golden goose that I'm now chasing.
So here's the thing. So what is it called? Pappy Van Winkle?
Pappy Van Winkle.
So Pappy Van Winkle, unlike the Buffalo Trace,
yes,
is not mass produced.
Right.
Therefore, supply and demand. Not much of it, so it's expensive.
Yes.
But it could be dog shit compared to these.
There have been people that I've talked to that have drank quite a bit of bourbon that basically have said, hey, it's good, but it ain't worth that price tag. Now, here's the thing, too. Again, Ohio, I know that not everybody that listens to us is from Ohio, but if you're from Ohio, I'll give you a little bit of information that you probably didn't know. Through the Ohio Liquor Lottery, every year in November, they get a certain number of bottles from the state of Kentucky's liquor agency. They have a lottery that you can enter into. If your name gets drawn, you have the right to buy a bottle. You don't win the bottle for free, but you have a right to buy it. They have the Pappy Van Winkle. Like last year, they had 1,000 bottles total. There were 73,000 entrants to try to win a bottle.
That's a lot.
But the bottle that sells for $2,500 to $4,000, depending on the site, if you get drawn to win that bottle, you can buy that bottle for $300. Now, that's a lot of money for a bottle of liquor, but considering what it resales for, it's not a bad way to go.
So even if you were doing it just to make a profit.
Yeah. I mean, you got to find some place to sell it. You know,
Right.
there's places online that if you get online and you look to sell it, there are different places that you can go to and sell them your bottle. They'll basically want you to send it to them, authenticate it, you know, to make sure that it's real, that you're not selling them
Authenticated. I think that's a bad thing.
a previously emptied bottle that you've resealed up. You know, I mean, these people know what they're doing when it comes to that. So, but those are the two bourbons we wanted to talk about tonight a little bit. So if you get a chance, give them a shot and let us know what you think.
We're like around town. Where can I find this? The Buffalo.
The Buffaloes, I mean, it's hard.
Really?
The best thing that you can do is get on ohioliquor.org.
You didn't find this driving around?
No, my brother actually located these by doing exactly what I'm going to tell you. You can get on Ohio Liquor. They have a list of every spirit that is sold in the state of Ohio. So you go down, you find Buffalo Trace, and you click on it. What it'll do is it'll pull up a map, and it will show you every place in Ohio that actually has it on the shelf. The recommendation I would make is if you find some that are close to you, make the phone call ahead of time.
Oh, yeah.
Because it might show that they were there because it was there 2 days ago, but they might be out now.
Or if you're going in the evening, it could have been there in the morning.
Right. But if you stumble upon it for the price, pick up a bottle. You won't be
$20.
sad. Worst case scenario, you got the world's best bourbon sitting in your liquor cabinet. It's a good conversation piece. And if you have somebody in your home that likes bourbon, you can be like, hey, I've got some Trace. And they're going to be like, well, thank you very much. So,
or if you have a really good friend, you can just buy one of his.
Speaking of friends, I do have a little tiny story I want to throw out there about
Yeah.
this. So, as you know, my brother Josh worked as a mortician for several years. And he worked for a funeral home in Canton. Great people that own this funeral home. It's a father and son. They're fantastic people. And the son, his name is Craig. And he's listened to the show quite a bit, you know, big fan of Craig. He's the one who I lost a bet with, and I had to wear a Brett Favre jersey to a football game.
I bet you that was fun.
I told that story once upon a time on the show. Oh, yeah, and I've got a framed picture of me floating around here someplace with the Brett Favre jersey on, which I don't hate because I'm about 70 pounds lighter in the picture, so it's kind of like a love-hate relationship with that picture. But so we talked to him while Josh was down last week and decided to go over there. We actually had a bottle of the Weller Reserve, which is the green label, and that's because it's a rye. It's that
one over there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And that's really good, really smooth. So he invited us over, right? So a couple things about when we're sitting over there BSing with him for a couple hours that I think that you will find was fun.
I can't wait.
So there were two things. The first is, like I said, he's a fan of the show, and one of the things he told me that I laughed. I mean,
I'm sure you did. I'm sure it's something about me.
I mean, I laughed so hard out loud is he said that whenever somebody tells him something that he doesn't believe or that like he thinks somebody's completely full of shit.
That's right.
You know what he'll say? He'll be like, oh, fuck Neil Diamond. And he does it all the time. He said like he has to catch himself doing it because he's almost said it to his kids a couple times. But so he's got some, and he said there's a couple guys that he works with that work for the funeral home now. And the one guy is a big fan and he said he's a big storyteller. So he uses it on him all the time.
So it's their own inside joke type thing.
Right. But he's like, because of the show, he's like, I can't do it. He's like, and every time it comes on at the beginning, he's like, I laugh every time because he's not a Neil Diamond fan to where that's
obviously
where he gets a kick out of it. The other thing that I thought was super awesome is this guy, he's kind of creative, right? So during quarantine, he was trying to find something to keep himself busy, right?
Sure.
So again, very creative guy. He wanted to be an architect before he decided to go into the family business of death.
This is like my best friend you're talking about.
Oh, dude, you guys would get along with like peas and carrots. So what he decided to do was he took his son's Lego sets, right? And he decided that he was going to start building little sets and making famous movie scenes out of Legos.
So that's really creative.
Now, what this did was within a couple-week period of time, this steamrolled into him becoming an Amazon freak and buying Lego sets like a crazy person to where he had all this stuff sectioned out in different pieces, different settings, all the different bodies, like all the different little peoples, everything to where he did this for, I think it was like 50 or 60 days. And every day was a different scene from a movie, right? Well, then what he ended up doing in the end is he made a book. He actually went on Shutterfly and made himself like an actual like hard copy, like hardbound book. To where now when you go to his house, it's on his coffee table. And we sat there for the better part of an hour and flipped through this. Amazing how many of them, especially if you're anywhere near the age of 40 or if you have a lot of common knowledge about movies and stuff like that. And they were really, really good. There's a whole lot. But what I thought was cool was instead of putting it out there to the masses, because instantly I was like, did you make this public to everybody? Because people would have followed this like crazy because they waited for him every day. And he tried to do it around the same time, about 6 o'clock in the evening. He would post this thing. And then instantly people are just like guessing, what movie it is. And some of them were obvious, like I said. But it was super fun to where.
Dude, I mean,
it was a really fun project.
That would have been something he could have done on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And like, he wouldn't have had to show the whole 2 or 3 or 4 hour process of building it. But he could have done like, cut it out, edited it, and thrown it on there and been like, people would have freaked, man. He probably got a lot of views.
Yeah. One of my favorite ones, and just to give him a little bit of love here, was he did Dumb and Dumber. And the scene that he chose was when Lloyd came back down the road on the little moped, right? And he's got the briefcase sitting on the front of it, when he comes to pick Harry back up. So he's got Harry standing on the side of the road, and he pulls up on it. He was using tweezers to try to get the briefcase that he found, this little briefcase, to stay on there because it just kept falling off, and to where he basically finally got it to stay on there and snapped a picture real quick. So it's like a 2-hour process to try to get this picture finally for that day. So kudos to Craig and your project. It was
awesome.
It was an amazing amount of fun to go through. We tried to tell him that, you should talk to somebody about trying to put this out there, because people would take something like this because he at the beginning of the book, it says that there's going to be a bourbon review at the end. And at the end, it said bourbon review. They're all pretty good. So pretty comical, but shout out to Craig for a good project. It was great to see Craig too.
I'm going to tell you what, Craig, you got way more, I would get done with one and I'd be like, okay, that was a lot of work. I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
But how many scenes did he do?
I think it was around 60. I would have to ask.
60 scenes?
Yeah.
Dude, hats off, man.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome over a long period of time. And then he gave me, I'll give you one more little thing if you guys want to use this and throw this out. A one-liner that he used, that he picked up from a coach.
Holy fuck Neil Diamond.
Right? Not that one, because you can't use that just anywhere.
I did that for you, Craig.
But this guy was a coach, a guy that he knew for a long time, and he had to go to this guy's funeral. And one of the things that one of his former players said that always stuck with him was if you were like loafing in practice, or if you were like mind fucking something that you were doing in practice, he was a baseball coach, he'd be like, hey, you're not showing it at the fair, buddy, let's go. I'm like, that's true, because you know what people put into like their fair stuff,
Yeah.
It's like, all right, quit mind fucking, let's go. So where he's been using that one a bit now too. So I'm just waiting for the right opportunity to get that one out there. So
you hate on Neil Diamond?
That's right. So speaking of fun things with friends along the way, we're coming into 4th of July weekend here, which a lot of places are canceling their fireworks, but there's got to be a couple fireworks stories that we have between us.
I have none. I'm joking.
I was going to say, come on, man.
This was
a pyro like you?
Oh, my God. Yeah. I haven't talked about Matt in a while, but me and my homie Matt, back in the day growing up, we would light everything on fire. And I told the story about the black powder on the show. Kind of made my own fireworks. I probably have brought this up once before, but it's worth rehashing. Pretty sure it was black market fireworks, a dealer, somebody we used to work with.
Okay.
And he would talk about all these things you could get, and then you'll meet him after work somewhere, and he opened the trunk of his car, and I don't even remember who it was. And actually, I do now. But
okay.
And it's like, dude, it's $20. I'm like, what the hell is it? And they were these mortar rounds. These things were not as big as a baseball, but bigger than a golf ball.
Okay.
Somewhere in there. Good size though. And you get this mortar tube. And there were 6 shots. And he's like, dude, these are freaking legit. I'm like, well, you could be lying to me, but all right, legit. I'll take legit for $20. So that next Friday or whatever it was, drove right over to Matt's house, and I'm like, dude, we gotta light one of these off. His parents were gone. His parents were always gone. They were Amwayers. You ever know anybody that was an Amway?
Yeah.
Okay, so the parents are always gone. They're always going on these retreats. So, hey, it worked out really good for me and Matt. We always had the house on the weekends.
Going diamond, baby.
It's going diamond. So we had the Durling Park right beside us there. I mean, literally 100 feet from his back door, we were almost in the middle of the field. So we waited till it got dark.
Yep.
Took the launcher over there, set it in the middle of the field there.
Yeah.
lit this thing. We just ran because we didn't know what it was going to do. And all you hear is just this thud. Thump. And then we stopped and we're looking, and you could just see the wick rolling, like really, really fucking high. And then, you know when you're at the fireworks and they're doing the kapsh, kapsh, and then all of a sudden you see the flash, and it's the boom.
Yeah.
And then they'll do a whole bunch of those, and then you can like feel it on your chest. That's what these were.
Really?
Just the flash and the boom.
Nice.
So it sounded like a cannon.
So you guys got the fuck out of Dodge pretty quick on that one?
Well, so we just went, we were at his back door, and we're like, holy shit, that was fucking crazy. But neither one of us was like, let's do another one. We were waiting for the cops to come. So we waited about half an hour. We were like kind of watching out the windows. Nobody drove by. Nobody patrolled. So I ran out. It was even darker. So I even ran out and got my tube.
Did another one.
No, we didn't. So I held on to those. I had 5 shots remaining.
Okay.
A few years later, out of my mom's house, it's middle of the day.
Okay.
I told them about it.
Yeah.
I said, I got some fireworks. Pretty good. It's about 4th of July.
Yeah.
I light one of these things. Same thing. And boom. They were like, holy shit. That's my stepdaddy. He likes shit like this.
Yeah.
So I had all the mortar tube and the rounds, or I probably didn't have the rounds. I just had the tube. And I come around the corner, and there is a sheriff's car coming down the driveway.
Oh, man.
And I'm like, we're out in the fucking boondocks. I mean, this would have been normal for like in downtown Wadsworth, or like where you live,
Sure,
or where I live. But I mean, it was too weird. I'm like, holy shit! So I ran inside. I stuffed the thing in the washing machine.
Yeah.
I don't know where we're gonna hide a fucking firework tube. All right, washing machine seems pretty good.
Right.
Wasn't on. Then we go back out, and here the guy was just to see my stepdad because they had some zoning things to do.
Great.
Because he's an oil and gas guy. So
they're pretty cool about it. I mean, unless you're really trying to
he didn't
mess
even
it up,
know anything.
They don't care. They're pretty cool about it.
He didn't even know anything.
Yeah.
I got another fireworks story. Now, this is one that never came to fruition.
Okay.
I was out at my wife's aunt's house. It was 4th of July. Wasn't drinking. I know it's a shame. Wasn't drinking, but I took a whole bunch of fireworks. Some mortars. I had these 3-stage mortar rounds that would go up, and they'd go the pew, pew, pew. They do like the pretty things.
Yeah.
Not like professional, but semi. Same thing, though. Shoot real high.
Yeah.
And I had all this shit in the back of the car, and we left. Never shot any off. And I think I've told this story where I went through the coming home. I went through the stoplight. Like there's one of those where I was probably speeding, and the light went to orange to red, and I'm like, well, either I'm going to slam on my brakes and slide into the middle of the intersection, or I just go for it.
Right. Pot committed.
And as I'm going for it, on the other side is an officer.
Of course there was.
I'm like, and he does the UE and comes behind me, and I slow down and I say, hey, dude, I said, I saw you. I said, I was either slam on the brakes or run it. And he's like, okay, give me a second here. And then he looks in the back, and there was just nothing but fucking serious fireworks just everywhere.
Yeah.
But as a smart cop would be, he doesn't smell fireworks.
Right.
I didn't launch any.
So he knew nothing was actually going on yet.
Nothing was being, just transporting.
Yeah.
Which transporting fireworks isn't illegal.
No.
Just shooting them in Ohio.
Right.
Which I guess if I have them, eventually I'm going to shoot them.
Maybe you're taking them to another state.
Anyways, he didn't give me a ticket.
Good.
But yeah, so to round this out, I probably, as you're telling your stories, I probably have a couple other better ones.
Sure.
But that was me over the same guy that had the out of the trunk thing. I bought some more from him a couple years later.
Yeah.
And these were the 3-stage one I was telling you about. And I got like 6 or 8 different shots out of these. And it came with like 2 different tubes. And every year at 4th of July for like, I don't know, I would only like do 1 or 2.
Yeah.
I'd blast a couple of these off. And it seemed like it must have been like 4-year span.
Yeah.
That, everybody couldn't wait. Do you still have some? I'm like, oh yeah, I got some.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
And I was lighting them up in the neighborhood and
nice.
But I would always wait. I'd go outside. I'd sit down and hear the guy going. Pshew, psh, pshew, psh. I'd let him get about 12 of those, and then I'd be like, all right, it's time.
Yeah.
I used to say it's like pulling out your wang.
Yeah. We actually had a friend growing up that he was that kid that always had stuff like that around. I mean, like. his mom and dad would get him whatever he wanted, you know. And I think he was 16 or 17 at the time. And we went over there. It wasn't for 4th of July weekend. It was actually for a Halloween party. But he had a whole bunch of fireworks. So he set up the tubes and set some stuff off, you know, and it was fun. You know, we all just kind of had a good time. Well, then, as kids are and they're stupid, he decided that he wants to have a Roman candle war.
Oh, those are good.
Well, they're good until...
Unless you're shooting each other.
Well, that's what was going on. Like, people, like, this is the same kid we used to have corn wars, like, out in the field behind his house.
Corn wars?
You ever had a corn war?
Like throwing ears of corn?
So what you do in corn wars is you find you don't want to have a super big field because then it's impossible. But like if you find like a couple acre field of corn, and again, I'm not advocating, especially as an adult, don't be destroying somebody's crops. But you split up into teams and you start on both ends and you work your way toward the middle, shucking corn. And like you usually do it when it's dark to where you don't see it coming, dude. And like I got rocked more than one time. I mean,
and then this seems like a moron's game.
But it's fun. It's things dumb people do in the country. You know what I'm saying? It was so much fun.
I mean, you're gonna get a hard ear of corn in the face,
right? Or to like the you know what, the ones that hurt the worst are like to the stomach or to like the shoulder, like because you don't see them coming. Like normally by the time like something's coming to your face, your body's natural reaction is like right to where you can usually fend it off pretty good. But he
in the dark,
yeah. But in the corn, the one time that we played and it got like super serious to where like if you get hit by an ear of corn, you're supposed to be out. It's kind of like playing dodgeball with corn. Well, this kid literally was like 10 feet away from another guy. He didn't know he was there, and he drilled him with it. I mean, lit him up in the back with an ear of corn, which I know that sounds dumb, but I mean, like, that's a little weighty, you know, and just hit him with it.
I thought you were going to say in the face.
This dude got super pissed, goes over, tackles him, and then literally, we get up there, he's got a foot on this kid's back, just pelting him. I mean, I bet he hit him with like 6 or 7 ears. People are like, no, like, we're all friends here, dude. We're not trying to get somebody hurt. So, but anyway.
It's like, do you want to feel what it was like, asshole?
Right. But that night, he decided he wants to have a Roman candle war. And, like, I'm full on jeans and a flannel and stuff, you know, because it's fall time. And I'm like, whatever, you know, what's the worst thing that happens? Something catches on fire, right? Well, this moron's out there running around in shorts and a T-shirt. Dude, we weren't 45 seconds in, and one of his buddies was hiding on the ground, and right when he came past, he lit it and like had it hid, and then he put it out. Dude, went into his leg, like the Roman candle thing did, and was like burning to where he's on the ground, flailing around. 2 weeks later, this thing is infected. He actually had to go and have a procedure done to have this thing cut out of his leg because it had got infected so bad. So he's got a scar for life now from his firework game. So
it was his game.
Oh yeah, he's the one who wanted to play it. Like, and he had them all to where don't have Roman candle wars.
No, hold a Roman candle and shoot it one direction, and not like the band.
Yeah, one of my favorite ones, and it's just like I like instant karma. You know, when people are being douchey and like they pay for it. There's another guy that we work with, and he's got a reputation. He's kind of a giant douchebag. You know, I'll just leave it at that. And he's a expert, you know, in the world of fireworks. So where we're at this 4th of July party one year, and he decides, you know, time to break out the fireworks. So he's got like seven tubes that have like 5 in each one, right? To where he gets them all lined up, and it's just pew 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 pew, you know, setting them off. And it was a pretty good fireworks show. Well, he starts reloading. Well, what he didn't realize was the one that was a dud, he didn't calculate that it was, and he dropped another one in it. Well, within about 20 seconds, he's literally standing a few feet away from it. Fucking thing goes off, blows up the tube, and he got a pretty good burn from it. So it wasn't like the firecracker blowing up in the hand, but that was the end of it for him, to where he doesn't even do them anymore. You know, to where it's like, well, that's what you get for being a giant doucher your whole life.
Some of these memories are coming back.
Right.
Like, remember I was telling you about the mortars? They just go the flash and the boom?
Yeah.
Some other people bought those, and one of them, somebody put one in a tube that it wasn't meant for, and it got stuck. And I remember the person said they lit it, and it blew up on the ground.
Yeah.
Which you don't want to be close to that shit.
No.
I remember the one guy said...
Those are fun videos.
A guy had went and set his smokes down beside the tube and lit it, and then literally... this obviously, it's paper.
Yeah.
Cigarettes are paper. But even in the cart or the little cigarette case, blew all the filters were clean off the cigarettes.
Yeah. I've only ever seen one thing that was like kind of like scary that happened. Anybody that's from North Central Ohio knows that Orville has one of the renowned fireworks displays. I mean, for it not being a big town, they put a lot of money into this. I mean, it's impossible to get in and out of town for a couple of hours before the show. I mean, everybody tries to get over early, go to the carnival and stuff. Well, we got positioned one year to where we could see right where they were setting them off. So we're watching the firemen and stuff as they set them off. Well, we're sitting there, and all of a sudden we hear this boom, and we look, and there's a table that just, I mean, that thing had to go 60 feet in the air. One of them blew up on the table, and then within maybe 30 seconds, all of a sudden, there's lights and sirens, and he ended up being okay, but he had like some pretty substantial, like third-degree burns. One of the firemen did from that thing blowing up, to where it was like, whoa, like, and to be, and like to have an angle to see, because like they shut the thing down for like a good 10 minutes, where people thought it was done, but like they got him out of there and they restarted the fireworks show. Like the only way out is through, so it was pretty wild, you know.
Yeah.
And then my favorite one, which I know I've told before, is that a buddy of mine, his dad used to run a particular building over in Orville. It's the tallest building in Wayne County. We got the keys, you know, one night incognito, ended up going up this shaft to get clear up on top of this giant building, and we got to see fireworks from like almost like eye level. It was intense, man. It's a different view that I'm only going to get one time in my life, and it was pretty badass. So it was super fun.
I don't think you've told that story.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When we were up there, one of the things that we did, because there was nobody else around. I mean, where we were at, like there was nobody down on the ground and stuff to where we were at. And we were up there and we took snacks and stuff like that. Well, I had a 2-liter bottle of Dr. Pepper. And I was like,
Let's see if this thing can fly.
and it did. And it took a good solid 3-4 seconds to get to the bottom. Dude, explosion.
Shake
when
it up
hit
real
the ground.
good?
Oh, but you did, but it didn't matter. It was going to go when it hit the ground anyway. We got down there afterwards. I'm not joking. There was probably a good 40, maybe 50 feet wide circle that had like spray in it
Pepper
of Dr. Pepper. So,
Well, if you're gonna, I mean, I love me some Dr. Pepper, but if you're gonna throw a volatile soda, Dr. Pepper is probably about as volatile as you're gonna get.
yeah.
That stuff will eat pipes.
Right. And also fun that night, that's the only place I've ever peed off of that I was done peeing before it started hitting the ground.
I have a story like that.
So that was pretty fun.
I've talked about before on one of the earlier shows where we walked out on one of those train trestle bridges.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another one where we're like, well, it's time to piss off this thing.
Right.
100-foot bridge. Yeah. Longest piss stream you'll ever see.
Right? Like, what is that? And then finally it starts hitting the bottom. So
Oh my God! Let me think of some other ones. Simple stuff. Matt and I always had bottle rockets. We little teeny fireworks, nothing big. And I'll never forget we had these ones that were waterproof.
yeah.
And my mom always had this from the downspouts. It just caught the water.
Yeah.
Rainwater barrel.
Yeah.
But it was a half. Because we lived in the city, she didn't have that big of an area to water.
Yeah.
But you'd shoot them in there and you hear, then it would
Yeah.
just go, boom, and it was just fun, something different.
Yeah.
It's like a science experiment.
Yeah.
Well, he's looking down once, and it had this little, like, you have the wick, and then it's like this little black sealant
Yeah.
on where the wick connects, and he's holding it down, and that shit fucking flew up right in the corner of his eye,
Really?
and like gave him like just a light little burn, but you know
Yeah.
that's very sensitive.
Yeah.
It damn near hit his eye.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was funny later, but like holy shit now.
So in your youth, have you ever done the butt crack fireworks?
No, tell me what the butt crack fireworks are.
So you take a bottle rocket, you know, I mean, they're that long and they got the stick on them and a little piece on the end, and you put it between your butt cheeks and light it to let it take off, to where it's like it's stupid young men trying to test their metal. You know what I mean? Well,
No.
This one kid was so funny because he was the one that was so afraid of it. I mean, basically, like, I was never stupid. The times that I did it, I would tuck my shirt clear down in, you know, to where if anything happened, it was going to be my shirt that went up instead of my butt cheeks, you know? Well, this kid,
I have never heard of this.
this kid's cracking walnuts with his butt cheeks. He's got them clenched so tough at this point in time, to where when we light it and it's supposed to go off, he's got it clenched so bad that it won't shoot out of his butt, to where he got it pretty good on that one.
Yeah,
and it was
that's
one of
no
those.
good.
It was one of those burns that like went down and like got his underwear on fire. And
Yeah.
I don't know how we survived some of the dumb shit we did when we were kids.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just be careful with fireworks, folks.
Be careful. I mean, because there's dumbasses out there too that just want to have fun and or I should say, be a little bit malicious.
Yes.
Not too malicious. Like I remember one time we were out down at the railroad tracks in Marshallville. And we had stopped somewhere and we got some chewing tobacco.
Yeah.
And of course, when you don't chew tobacco, you can get kind of little it's not sideways, but
You get a buzz from
little,
it.
little green in the gills.
Sure.
I can remember my cousin laying on the hood of the car, my buddy's car,
Struggling.
Of course, we're just lighting bottle rockets from inside the car out to the hood. He's like, "Fuck you guys."
It's good times.
Yeah. I can't think of anything else offhand, but Roman candles in the water. That's fun too.
Yeah.
In the sky. Of course, there's some different ones. Some of them actually like throw fire as they go.
Yeah.
Some of them just shoot.
Yeah.
But they're usually kind of a colorish
Right.
type thing.
They're a good time.
Yeah.
So enjoy your fireworks this weekend. Just be careful with what you're doing. Don't point them at anybody, and make sure that you're using total safety. I mean, I hate to hear somebody actually get really messed up from a firework.
Yeah, me too. And how about the classic? And I'm sure you've had plenty of these as a kid. The classic Ohio fireworks, where they sell them in stores that are nothing but smoke bombs.
Yes, 80%
You have
of them.
smoke bombs. You have snakes. All the shit that just smells like holy fuck. I can remember being over at actually it was Brian's house from work.
Okay.
And he had his great little 4th of July party because you could watch the fireworks from his house.
Yep.
And somebody brought fireworks. And it was one of those thick evenings where it was just kind of almost foggy.
Yeah.
And people started throwing these smoke bombs. And I'm going to tell you what, it about choked everybody out.
Oh yeah.
Don't do that.
That's the worst parts to smell. For sure.
Oh, the
So.
classic Ohio fireworks.
That's what I got on fireworks.
How about this? Have you ever gone anywhere like to any of the firework sellers and bought fireworks? Like
No, I've never been to like Phantom, or I've never been to any of those stores. So
or Hartville? What do they got out in Hartville?
I'm not sure if they have one or not. I know that there's a Phantom fireworks that's just off of 71 that you can stop in, and they got all kinds of stuff.
See, like when we would travel down to Kentucky, at least once a year
Yep.
for family reunion, and then I had a buddy that had a sister that went to school down there. We'd go down there a couple times a year.
Yeah.
We would always stop in.
Yeah.
And they would, but you had to sign the little thing. I will not shoot this off anywhere else except
Yeah,
here.
Sure.
Absolutely, sir.
You got it.
But anyways, all right, let's move on.
Good times.
So
you got to eat a little crow here.
yeah. So real quick. Only, do I?
You do.
How many people really know this? Only a few.
The people that listen to the Patreon know you're
Yeah.
eating crow, and if you haven't, go back and listen to the episode.
Yeah. So I am on record. This is so funny because I had made up some topics, and my topic was for this episode 74. Baseball is done. Will not have another game. They will not play in 2020. Well, it was so funny because while we were recording, Jake was like, "Well, they're voting on this tonight," which was last Wednesday.
Yep.
And I'm like, "Really? I didn't even know." He's like, "Yeah, they're voting." And then as we were sitting here, vote failed. And I was like, "Well, ha ha!" I knew I was right. I wasn't really like, "Ha ha!" Like I'm glad.
Right.
Not glad, but
48 hours later.
48 hours later, I get these texts that says we're back or notifications, we're back. And I'm like, well, here we go. So how do you feel, real quick, do you think this still tarnishes baseball? 60 game season?
No, it doesn't tarnish it at all. 60 games is 3/4 of an NBA season. It's basically four NFL seasons. I mean, 60 games, you can separate the good teams from the bad teams pretty quick. You know, I like it. I think that an abbreviated season, especially for a time where I feel like baseball sometimes is a bygone sport, to where 60 games, every game matters. You can't be throwing games away.
No, this is big time.
Right, to where like first 1 to 40 is making the playoffs.
Well,
you know what I mean?
The old rule of thumb was you're going to win 60.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to lose 60. It's what you do with the last 60.
The last 40.
Or
the
whatever.
last 42.
Okay, the last 40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On a regular 162 game schedule.
Right.
No, I love it. I think that it's great. I think
That was what it was. You're going to lose 60, you're going to win 60. It's whatever it's what you do with the rest.
right.
Yes.
What you do at the middle ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, to where I'm excited for it. I think that baseball needs to come back. I think it's going to be a good time. Now, it's going to be weird because they haven't announced exactly what's going on with seating in the stadiums and that kind of stuff. I did laugh about one thing, and as some of you know, I am a hardcore Giants fan. You know, haven't been good for a couple years. You know, we had the magical 2010, 2012, 2014 championship seasons, and they're kind of in rebuilding mode with a younger team, and they've got some good guys coming up, but California is one of the states that's going to be really, really restrictive on whether they or not they even let anybody in. what they're doing, which I think is great, is any season ticket holder that basically takes their season ticket package and rolls it over into the 2021 season, they have the option that for their seats, they can send in a picture of themselves and each person. Like if you have 4 seats, you can send in 4 pictures and they will make life-size cutouts of you and put them in your seats. So when you watch those games on TV, they're going to have the actual fans there, even though there's not going to be anybody there.
This is Anaheim?
No, this is the San Francisco Giants.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's kind of cool.
That's cool. Hopefully other teams follow suit. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You're going to want to, are they going to pipe in noise? Do you think they're going to pipe in noise?
No, I don't think it's going to be a pipe in noise type thing. I mean, there's going to
It's
be...
going to be weird, though.
Yeah.
Quiet.
There's going to be a lot of fireworks and stuff whenever something happens. But, I mean, if you watch a UFC fight lately, because the UFC's back in full swing, I mean...
No, but here's what I'm saying.
It's different not having fans.
Yasiel Puig strikes out.
Yeah.
And he says, fuck. You're going to hear him.
Yeah. Yep. That's for sure. But I think there's going to be certain things like if you've ever been to an Indians game over the last 40 plus years, they have a guy that plays the drum. Doom, doom, doom. Stuff like that's still going to happen. They're going to find a way to get that piped in.
He might even be allowed to come in.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If there's a short list of 300 people that are allowed in, they're going to have John Adams there playing his drum.
Hopefully they let John Adams come down to the front row
he doesn't
of
want
the bleachers.
To, man. That's his thing. That's his place.
Well, it's his place.
Out in left
it's his
field.
people, too, out there.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying.
Don't move, John Adams. Stay where you're at.
I'd say come down, John Adams. You don't need to be walking up those stairs this year.
Yeah. But enjoy baseball this year. I think that what's going to be weird is we're going to have a pitcher that wins the Cy Young with 8 wins. There's.
I hope they don't have any of those.
No, you still need to, because in the course of a 60-game season, there's still enough room to say you were the best.
Yeah, but those pitchers are competitive. Nobody wants a 60-game Cy Young.
I would take a 60-game Cy Young. It's still a Cy Young. It's hanging in your...
What are you going to have?
What do you mean? You're going to get your trophy. You're going to win
10
your Cy Young.
starts? 11?
Probably somewhere around 15, honestly. You're especially with a short season, you're not going to see full 5-man rotations all season. You're going to have a lot of guys that are pitching every 4th day. That's just how it's going to go.
Think?
This year. Oh, yeah, when wins are at a premium, for sure. I mean, you think about the years that, when CeCe went to Milwaukee that one year. That dude was pitching every 3rd game regardless, and he was on fire and pushed them all the way into the playoffs.
He wasn't ever really with Milwaukee. It was a rental, and then he was gone.
But he was incredible for that little stretch that he was there.
Well, because it was. Guess what? It was free agent time.
Yeah, I like when
asshole.
I like when pitchers pitch a lot. If they can do it without getting injured, keep throwing, man. I think that it helps you as a pitcher. The more often you pitch, it's like anything else, the better you get. So enjoy baseball season when it comes back. I think the first game is going to be July 27th between the Yankees and the Nationals.
I thought it was 23rd, 24th.
Is that what it is?
I don't know. I heard baseball's coming back 23rd and 24th.
Yeah, well, today's July 1st, and today is actually the day training camp's open. So people are reporting today, spring training,
I still
baby.
think it's dumb.
Summer training.
I still think today should be the first game, and they fucked it up. I think if they would have started, for me as an avid baseball fan, if they would have started on July 1, I'd be like, you know what? Half a season, I'm good. Let's go. Let's roll.
Yep.
81 games,
It's still
I'm
going to be
down.
a good time. And when the playoffs get here, the regular season records go out the window anyway, and baseball playoffs are still going to be fun.
Yeah, but they fucked up a bunch of shit. So if there's a tie after 9 innings,
Yeah.
they're going to go to international tiebreaker rules.
Which are what?
A runner is immediately, the last out is immediately put on second base.
Okay.
And then they start the inning.
I'm good with that.
This fucks it all up.
Why?
Why can't they go 10, 11 innings anymore? I mean, maybe they still will, but why do this?
Because the schedule's going to be so busy, you don't want to be burning these guys all the way out.
But that's why. That's what they're
Put
going
them
to
in
want
that
to do.
situation. I mean, it's like hockey now. Hockey got tired of having guys killing themselves in overtimes to where it's a short overtime now, and if nobody scores, it's penalty shots, and then the game's over.
And now we've got a DH in every league.
Which that's going to be weird. National League
I
pitchers
don't like
not
it.
hitting.
If I had a choice, yes, I'm an American League Ball Club fan, but if I had a choice, I would have no DH.
I don't disagree. I think all pitchers should have to bat because
that's fucking baseball.
well, it's hard to throw at a guy too if you got to step into that batter's box. So plunking guys
know what?
might get out of control this year.
Plus, if hitters were actually, or if pitchers were actually hitters, there'd be a lot more better pitching hitters.
Right. Like Mad Bum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there just would be.
I get it.
because because the American League doesn't, and a lot of guys stay in the American League because they don't want to. They don't have to.
So let me ask you this then. If you're a proponent of like, oh, it doesn't mean that much and stuff, how are you going to feel if the tribe wins it? Does it count as a world championship? Are you buying banners and hanging the whole thing?
As long as they're not banging on trash cans, giving out signals to the other team via digital help, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, I'm going to sit here and be a proponent of I don't like it, but when this year's done and whoever wins it, as long as it's not the Astros or the Yankees, I'm fine.
Well, we'll find out. It's going to be good. Looking forward to baseball.
Here's the one thing, though. With the marathon season of 162 games, it's up and down.
Yeah.
And you ride waves of consistency and inconsistency.
Yeah.
Or inconsistence. But
inconsistency.
That too. So it's just going to feel a little bit hollow because you're never going to know, was this, whoever wins it, were they just peaking at the right time? Which some of it is peaking at the right time. Anyways, you look at last year's Nats.
Yeah.
They peaked at the right time.
But they were good all year. They
weren't that good all year. They were not that good all year.
They were good all year though.
But here's the other thing. We got players already, and a big name player already opting out of this season. They're not getting paid.
Which I don't have any problem with that though. Anybody that feels unsafe with the whole thing, fine, opt out.
No.
Nobody's holding a gun to your head and making you play baseball.
No. I don't have any problem. If you feel like your health or your family's health is more important than playing this year and making your $2 to $16 million, whatever, go for it. I mean, obviously it's your money. If you don't want it, you don't need it.
Right.
But I think that it's kind of like some of the players going off to war a little bit. Like, I don't know. It's going to screw up some of the teams.
You're going to find your way through it. There's some guys in the NBA playoffs, some guys that aren't going to be able to come back, that aren't going to be able to play. I mean, they sign somebody else and you move on from there. I mean, you got to roll with it. It's just, imagine it's an injury. Because, I mean, there's teams every year that get decimated by injuries to where they're not the team that they should have been. Look at the Indians last year.
So let me ask you this question. Do you think how many guys on the bubble do you think are opting out? None of them.
No. But what you're going to see is when you get to, like, game 40 and your team's 15-25, homeboys are going to start staying home.
Yeah.
Unless they're just trying to get that cheddar, which that's what they wait for all year is those paychecks.
I tell you what.
It's gonna be hard to walk away from.
It's like Stephen A. Smith talking about Carmelo Anthony. He said, "I know Carmelo pretty good. He's not taking less money."
Right. No.
He loves the money.
No, that's what he signed for. Good, bad, or ugly. Somebody gave him the contract.
Yeah.
So
all right.
Here's one for you.
Yeah.
That and this is your story. I just want to lead into it.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting that we've talked about beer a lot on the show and our different tastes, and you're drinking the High Life tonight. When over the last several months, even maybe half a year, you've definitely gotten into the more craft and the darker beer scene. But I think that you found out the hard way. What a lot of people find out the hard way is that not every beer is made for every occasion
or every day.
So what did you find out?
So, I mean, I kind of knew this going in, what was probably going to happen, but you get home from a hot day, especially like we had softball all weekend, and you come home at 4 o'clock from playing 2 games in the morning, and it's hot, you've been sweating. You just want to sit down, at least I do.
Yeah.
I'm sure you may as well. I want to sit down, I want to enjoy a beer.
I have.
And sometimes there is no better beer on a hot day. You might drink 2 really quick, but and then halfway through that second one on that hot day, you're just like, man, this is really good.
Yeah.
So that happened to me. And all I had at the moment was this x2 milk stout. Who was the maker?
Was it Southern Tier?
Yes. Southern Tier it was. And it's really good fucking beer.
Yes.
But it's not chugging, I'm thirsty beer.
It's more of a hibernation beer.
Yeah, it's more of a, hey, it's a little chilly tonight.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Better get my liquid blanket.
So, yeah, so still I drank the first one pretty quick, and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Not bad, but just like, wow.
Let's get through it.
Maybe I should go get some High Life. And then I proceeded to drink the other one, and I got down to about half, and I set it on the counter. Actually, I might have even went back in the fridge, and I came back to it till after I cooled off.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
So, note to self and note to all y'all, you might want to avoid that.
Lighter beers, lagers, pilsners. Those are the kind of things that you want for
even a domestic,
for
whatever.
That's what I'm saying. A pilsner.
Yeah.
You know.
Just go that route. They're good for some things.
Yeah.
Hot days are one of them.
Yeah. Pay attention to what you're drinking, and especially the if you start slamming the high alcohol content beers, just make sure you're prepared for it, because on a hot day when you're sweating, that stuff will run through you. To where a 6-pack in the wintertime might not be as much. It can hit you like a hammer in the summertime if you're throwing down a hardcore beer.
Absolutely.
So,
all right. So, last but not least, actually, this is your story.
there's a couple different ones we got left. We got 2 more.
Okay.
Which one do you want to go with?
The defund.
Okay, so there's been a lot of discussion about defunding the police and what that actually means. And does that mean defund? Does that mean restructure? It's up in the air. There's a lot of discussion back and forth. Different cities are doing different things. I came across a video that I thought was incredibly compelling just for this reason. It was a police officer that to see him, I don't know his full backstory, but he looks like a cop that's been around for a while. You know, he posts this video and he says that he just got out of his morning meeting, you know, like they're debriefing on what the plans were for the day, and that there was a group that was going to be protesting, you know, which, again, we support everybody's right to peaceful protest.
Peaceful.
It's one of the cornerstones of our country. We're huge advocates for your right to do that. If you think that something needs changed, do what you need to do. But it was interesting to me because he said that their detail for the day was there was a defund the police rally that had called and requested a police presence at their defund the police rally because they were concerned about safety. And I'm not sure how to feel about that. I feel like even if people are protesting, it is the job of our police officers that we have set. I mean, the way that we've set this up is their job is to protect people, right? Good, bad, or ugly. But I mean, even like, you don't have to agree with it. I don't agree with it. But even if you see one of these, like the old school, like KKK marches, nobody agrees with it, but like there's a police presence there to make sure that a huge riot doesn't break out because of the group that's actually protesting or having their march that day. You know,
all I have to say is, when shit gets dumb, it gets real dumb.
Yeah.
How can you want to defund the police, but yet you feel you need them?
Right. I mean, that's the
so
struggle
at the point where you're making the call to the police station, you need to just hang up. Be like, this is pretty fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything good and bad or injustice of whatever is going on.
Right.
But common sense, people. Just common sense. If you're calling to defund the police and be done with them, you can't call and ask for their help.
I mean, I agree. I mean, it's going to sound so silly and juvenile, but like, you know what it made me think of? Like, if for some reason you were protesting teddy bears, you're not going to have a Build-A-Bear station on hand for everybody that's there. Like you can't request somebody to be there or somebody to be in that position that you're actively arguing against. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Stupid.
Right. So I just thought that was kind of a weird thing.
In that situation, call the Hells Angels if you need some support.
No, we've seen that go awry.
No,
the Rolling Stones concert.
It's 2020, man.
No,
they'll come in and help you.
No,
I mean, but that's what I'm saying. Figure it out. Don't call the cops if you're wanting to defund the police.
Yeah.
So, anyways, last story. Let's go.
Oh, so a lot of you probably know, especially if you are fans of The Gallows, our sister show, that a couple weeks ago, or even a couple months ago now, that they actually caught the Golden State Killer.
Yeah.
So
sounds like an old 70s killer.
He's been going since, I believe it was the early 80s, clear into within the last couple years.
But I'm just saying that name, the Golden State Killer. It sounds like something I've watched before.
Right. What this guy did was he murdered a lot of people. He was actually an ex-police officer in his young days, to where he knew a lot about the system that police officers have, what he had to do and not do when it came to his crime scenes. Tons and tons of victims to go by on this whole thing. I don't want to get into the whole story, but this is just a bad dude all the way around. Well, what was interesting was he left DNA at a lot of the crime scenes.
Rapes.
Right. And he left DNA at a lot of these, and they could not piece this together. They didn't have anything in a database. This guy had never been in trouble or anything like that, to where they got together. They worked with, I believe it was Ancestry.com, 23andMe, and I think there was one more that they worked with. And what they basically did was they built a genetic profile based on people that had that in there, and they had narrowed it down to a couple of people that were like 0.999% sure that they were a relative of whoever this was, to where they...
Can I interject?
Yeah.
So how this works on Ancestry and all the other ones, they actually get a blood sample from some people.
Yes.
And you might be like saying, well, this guy didn't do that. No, he didn't. But some people want to know their genealogy so badly
Yeah.
and know who they're related to, they will have either, I think it's a kit, and they will take their blood sample, they'll send it off.
Yep.
And they use the mitochondrial DNA to, and like for instance, my mitochondrial DNA will, like, it should match with my mother, like, perfectly.
It does, because it comes directly from your mother.
Yes. So that's how they do it.
Right.
So what happened was this guy, some of his family or people around him had sent in their blood samples.
Right.
And in turn got him busted.
Right. They were able to narrow it down to who the people were that they knew were related. So they looked at their circle of relatives. They were able to link it back to this guy eventually and find it to where the whole thing. But kind of crazy for the whole thing, I thought.
And but here's the kick in the nuts in my opinion. So this guy probably has killed 20 some people, raped however many, 60? Who knows?
I mean, an incredible number. We don't even know the exact number.
We don't
yet.
know the exact number, but it's ridiculous and unfathomable.
Yes.
But he's going to get life in jail
Yeah.
to give up his crimes.
Right.
To give up all of them.
Right.
They want all of them. So what we're doing here is we're going to give the cops a chance to close some of these cold cases. And the only positive, I guess, now that I'm talking about it to you, is some of these families might get closure.
Right. That's the number one positive out of this whole thing.
But when Jake and I were talking about this earlier, I was really pissed because I'm like, so this guy is just going to get to go rot in jail for the next 20, 30 years just so these cops can close these cases.
Yeah.
And I was like, this doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
And then Jake's like, well, you've all seen that Netflix show where the guy just said, yeah, I did this, I did all these crimes.
I believe it's called The Confession Killer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
at one point in time, he had taken credit for like 1,000 murders, and literally they were breaking this down. Like, there's no way he was all these places.
Yeah, because
and
of
did all
just
these murders.
driving. They're like, couldn't have been here, couldn't have been there.
Right.
So let's see what this guy comes out with, because if you already know you're getting life, why not just take, yeah, I did that. Sure. So this guy's probably, once again, going to be the most prolific serial killer.
He'll go up there.
And whether it's him or not, they're going to just close these cases. For the families, yes, but it better be fucking legit. Let's do some homework and not just take his word for it.
I mean, I'm expecting some good due process to come from this list.
Shit. From the shit that I've seen, they don't do any, okay, shut it down.
Right.
Put a bow on it.
So, but that's a cautionary tale, is if you are going to send in your 23andMe or anything like that to see what you are, I hope you didn't do anything wrong, because they're going to use that now, because that's part of the system. They actually have this worked out now. It's something that is actively being used by the FBI and other agencies, to where you and your family could incriminate people that are you and people that you love without even knowing it.
Now, I say everybody that's a good, anybody that's a good law-abiding citizen, send it in.
I'm not going to go that far with it, because I don't know that
Jake's like, one day,
I don't
never
know. No, not from that. I don't know that all my information to that level. I mean, the government already knows so much about all of us. The one thing that they don't have on every single person is a genetic profile. I don't know that I necessarily need mine. And for me to feel like my life's complete, I don't need to know that I'm 12% this and 6% that and 2.5% this. Like, I just don't need that in my life. So I don't see that being something that I ever end up doing.
I'm sending mine in, motherfuckers.
Do it. Well, maybe if you convince me of it, then we'll do it on the show and we can talk about exactly what we are and where we come from.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure I'm a Viking, but I don't know.
I am too. You look like a Viking. See, my family said that we're all Hungarians.
Yeah.
And then, but my grandmother on my dad's side whispered to my mom and say Polish. And the funny thing is, like, all we ever said as kids was Polak jokes. And I'm like, no. So I'm kind of afraid to send my...
I don't know if we're allowed to tell Polak jokes anymore.
I didn't.
But I do have an all-time favorite one.
I've got one too.
So it's you guys have probably heard this before, but did you hear about the Polak that broke his arm? Yeah, he actually broke his arm in a tree, raking leaves.
See, I have the same joke about a tree. How do you get a one-armed Pollock out of a tree?
I don't know.
Wave.
Right? There you go.
Same thing. So
I should have remembered that one.
anyway, see, that's it.
Right.
But
Hashtag we love Pollocks.
We do.
Just to put that out there.
I might be one.
Right. I'm pretty sure that I have some in me to where, like, of all people, I actually would be a really interesting case for this because, as a lot of you know or may not know, my biological father was adopted at a very, very young age. I'm talking like months old. He was adopted by my grandparents, and he tried to go back and do like the ancestry and some of that kind of stuff and hit a lot of roadblocks just because of of where it looks like his family was from, to where record keeping was like, oh, you were an unwed mother, where we're just going to kind of slide this paperwork off to the side and things are hard to find, to where there's a lot of questions on the one side of my family as far as where did we actually come from? Because the story that we heard growing up, you know, that it was a predominantly English family, to where the great-grandfather had married a Cherokee woman a long time ago, and now it sounds like it might just be a bunch of Polish people that were from West Virginia. We have no idea at this point. So it would be interesting to find that out.
Yeah, your story's a lot like mine. Like,
right.
Like, we were all supposedly from Austria, Germany.
Right.
That's where all my parents, or my dad and my mom's families, both sides were from.
Yeah.
And then, then we hear Polacks from West Virginia.
Good old Polacks. Well, that's what I've got for tonight. Anything you want to add to finish up?
No.
All right. Well,
I got something to add.
All right, finish her off.
A little bit of a outro. That's it.
Oh, just the outro?
Just the outro.
Awesome. Hey, thanks again so much for joining us tonight. As you guys always know, one of the things that we preach on the show, mental health. If you are afraid that you might hurt yourself, somebody else, if you're struggling with substance abuse, please call 1-888-622-HELP. Somebody on the other end of that line will be there to be your lifeline.
Absolutely. If you feel like hurting yourself or somebody else, please call the number.
That's right.
Stay safe.
Look forward to talking to you again soon, and enjoy the next Patreon episode coming up soon.
That's right.
Have a good night. Pip, pip.
Cheerio. Holy fuck Neil Diamond.